Brina slammed her mug onto the pub table, the wood groaning under the sudden weight. She scanned the board, her eyes passing over the high-stakes gold until they snagged on a single, dusty parchment tucked in the bottom corner. A one-star hunt. Simple. Low effort. Maple Voss leaned over, her fingers tapping rhythmically against the grain of the wood. Cheap, but quick, Maple said, already pushing away from the table and heading toward the exit. They stepped out into the biting air, the pub's warmth vanishing instantly. The trail ahead was swallowed by a thick, gray fog that clung to the ground like damp wool. They walked for hours, their boots crunching against the damp forest floor. The silence of the thicket was absolute, broken only by the steady rhythm of their breathing. There was no tension in their gait, no urgency in their pace. To them, the bounty was a routine chore, a minor distraction before the day ended. They pushed deeper into the shifting mist, unaware that the path ahead had already changed. The fog thinned, but the air grew heavy, pressing against their skin with sudden humidity. Brina paused, her head tilting as a low, guttural vibration crawled up through the soles of her boots. It was not the wind. The trees ahead shivered, their branches snapping under an unseen weight. She held up a hand, signaling Maple to stop, but the movement was useless. The brush in front of them exploded outward. A massive shape tore through the undergrowth, obsidian scales catching the dull light like shards of broken glass. It stood 10 feet tall, blocking the narrow trail completely. Its eyes flared with a sudden piercing light that defied the surrounding gloom. This was no one-star pest. The sheer scale of the creature hit them with the force of a physical blow. Maple stepped back, her breath hitching in her throat. Brina did not retreat. She reached over her shoulder and gripped the hilt of her blade. The steel shrieked as it left the scabbard, a sharp, metallic note that cut through the stifling silence. "Guess we are doing this the hard way," she muttered, her knuckles whitening as she braced for the inevitable collision. Brina launched herself forward, boots kicking up thick clods of dirt as she closed the distance. She swung her blade in a precise, rhythmic arc, executing her signature double slash. Steel bit deep into the creature's flank, tearing through scale and flesh. A spray of dark ichor erupted, staining the air. The beast roared, a sound that shook the leaves from the branches above. Its massive paw descended like a falling boulder, aiming to crush her. Brina jammed her sword upward, locking the hilt against the descending weight. The force slammed through her arms, sliding her heels backward through the sucking mud. Behind her, Maple paced in a slow circle, holding a glowing device to her ear. "I am telling you, the logistics are flawed," Maple said calmly into the receiver. Brina gritted her teeth, muscles screaming under the crushing pressure. "Maple, make your move!" she shouted, voice cracking with strain. Maple looked up, raising a single finger to her lips. "Patience, Brina. This is a turn-based encounter. The beast is currently in its active phase. My turn has not been initialized by the system yet." The beast reared back, tail whipping the air with a lethal crack. Brina threw herself sideways, rolling across the forest floor just as the tail obliterated the spot where she had stood. She scrambled to her feet, breath ragged, standing alone between the monster and her partner's silence. The beast lunged again, its jaws snapping inches from Brina's chest. She sidestepped, the movement fluid but heavy with fatigue. Her lungs burned, drawing in air that tasted of damp earth and metallic blood. They circled, the monster's obsidian scales scraping against the rough bark of a nearby tree. Then, the rhythm shifted. The behemoth threw its weight forward, neck exposed in a momentary reckless lunge. Brina did not hesitate. She planted her leading foot, pivoted her hips, and drove her blade upward in a single, clean motion. The steel found the gap between the scales, biting deep into the creature's throat. A high-pitched, guttural keen tore through the woods as the beast stumbled backward, clutching at the air. It hit the ground with the force of a falling mountain, the impact vibrating through the forest floor. Silence returned, absolute and sudden. Before the dust could even settle, the air above the carcass shimmered. A cascade of gold coins and wooden crates materialized, clattering onto the mud in a chaotic, metallic symphony. Brina dropped her sword, the ringing of the steel against stone the only sound left in the clearing. She stood over the pile, chest heaving, as the last of the golden glow faded into the shadows. Neither Brina nor Maple reached for the gold. The coins lay scattered in the mud, ignored. Brina turned her back on the pile, her boots dragging heavily as she began the long trek toward the cabin. The forest seemed longer now, the trees stretching out into a maze of shadows. Every step required a conscious effort, a forced movement of legs that felt like lead. Beside her, Maple walked with the same rhythmic, mechanical pace, neither speaking nor glancing back. The silence between them was heavy, lacking the usual tension of their dynamic, replaced now by the hollow ache of pure physical depletion. When they finally reached the cabin, Brina pushed the door open, not bothering to latch it. She stumbled inside and hit the cushions of the couch, sinking deep into the fabric. Maple followed, collapsing into the adjacent seat without a word. They did not check their packs. They did not tally the day's earnings. The sound of their breathing filled the small room, ragged and slow. Outside, the wind rattled the window frame. But inside, they remained motionless, limbs heavy and eyes fixed on the ceiling, anchored to the spot by the sheer gravity of their exhaustion.